All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, get the recording going. It's great to finally sit down and talk. We've talked so many times through Facebook. It's great to actually look at you and talk to you, kind of face to face. As as
It's an
as
honor. It's
oh,
an honor for me.
same here, definitely same here. Going it was going over your history and going over actual how long Claymorean, starting out as Claymore, has been around, and it's I really kind of caught you rather late in the game in 2021 with Eulogy. That's the album that actually made me a fan and caught my attention. Talk a little bit about the history of Claymorean, and well, starting off with Claymore and going into Claymorean.
Uh, well, it's always difficult for me to start talking about Claymorean and constantly mentioning Claymore in the process because I'm not I'm not the one who would say that Claymore and Claymorian are the same thing
Okay,
because they really aren't. It's not like the true Pantera versus the false Pantera.
right.
It's it's more like it's Claymore was I don't know a band of mine when I was starting my musical career, and that band was influenced by the the thing that's been going on at the time, and it was the mid '90s,
Okay.
which yeah, which were specific when
Right.
it comes to true metal. And I was like, let's play some Iron Maiden, let's play some, Judas Priest, stuff like that, Manowar, of course. And so the couple of us made this band. We played at the local festival, and that was the only show in back in '94. And then I started thinking about uh, putting the band together back in '97 or '8.
Mhm.
And finally, when the computers started getting some nice software for recording at the beginning of 2000, I was thinking about, oh yeah, we could record some demos, stuff like that. And then in 2002, we made a demo of a song called The Triumph. It was one of few original songs I wrote back then. And then some people noticed it, and Claymore wasn't a band really. There was only me and my brother, and I found some people to perform live, and we had a couple of shows here and there through 2003 and 2004. And I began working on the second album, but I sold my guitar and said I don't want to deal with music anymore. It's all coming to shit because you know how the scene was in 2004 and
Right.
5, and everything started losing its charm, and the power metal scene was going into this poppy sound that I
Yeah.
never understood. The mid-tempo stuff,
Yeah.
Nocturnal Rites, they were amazing. The first three albums, and the fourth to some part, and
Yeah.
then started having those mid-tempo songs. I mean, for people who love that, it's great, but I'm not a fan of that. I like fast stuff.
Right. And I can't, and I don't understand also the where the down tune chugga chugs came from in power metal. Like where is that? Where did that come from? That came from the mid 2000s, and that whole I don't know where that came from, but it was just you're right. The scene lost
Yeah,
its charm. Definitely lost its
I'm not the
charm.
one who wants to point the finger at someone, but I think, and this is one of my favorite metal albums of all time, but I think that Dead Heart in a Dead World by Nevermore has something to do with that. But
Well,
it was, yeah, it was done in a different manner. So it's a great album.
right.
But
I I think.
there's a lot of string chugging and stuff
Oh
like that.
yeah, there's
And
definitely a lot of that in there. But then again, they were never accused of being a Euro power metal band. I'm talking about the the Euro power metal bands went from riff heavy fast, double bass to to these chugga-chugs with keyboards over top of them, and trying to use operatic vocals to fill in the blanks there, and it just to me it didn't work, and that's when true power metal lost its charm in my eyes. The true Euro power metal, the Stradivariuses, they weren't making albums the way they used to anymore. Sonata Arctica, just shit the bed pretty much.
I love that scene. I loved Rhapsody. I loved Stratovarius.
So
I
did
loved
I.
Hammerfall. I mean, Hammerfall's first album, that was a huge spark for me back then.
Same
I
here.
was like, yeah, heavy metal should be played like that,
Hmm.
or no metal at all. Because I wasn't a huge fan. Because I was a huge fan of Manowar when I was growing up.
Right.
Uh, but when they released Louder Than Hell, I was like, it doesn't work for me. It
Right.
it, it was like a stupid kind of music. I mean, the Triumph of Steel was all this bombastic sound, perfect production, fast songs, double kicks,
Hmm.
shreddy solos, and Eric Adams screaming out of his lungs, and big epic themes like Achilles and Cherokee and stuff like that. And then suddenly you have a Godsmack heavy metal and the Return of the Warlord. I mean, Warlord was never a good song to start with. Why
Right.
would you return the Warlord? And I was so disappointed in '96 in Manowar, but luckily there were Virgin Steel and Blind Guardian and Gamma Ray and a lot of bands, Domine and a lot of bands. I was like, yeah, I'm living in a heavy metal heaven. But as I said, in 2005, six, things
Hmm.
started spiraling down, and
Hmm.
I gave up on music, on Claymore. I said no more Claymore, and in 2012, I think the year after I met my wife, future wife, or I think 6 months after I
Hmm.
met her,
Hmm.
I saw her at a show. She was performing with this band, local band from our town, and she sang Uriah Heep, Easy Living, but
Oh
not in
wow.
falsetto.
Right.
She sang it,
For
full
real.
voice,
Hmm. Hmm.
and the middle part. Yeah, it was like wow, and I was like, damn, this girl sounds like a female version of David DeFay from Virgin Steel.
Hmm.
It was like
Hmm.
full of power. And the second song she sang was Stargazer by Rainbow, and she was like 19 at the time, and I was
Okay.
like, damn, I feel like a winger at the moment. No, joke aside, I was impressed with her vocal skills, and I asked her to do something. Then I joined that band. It is a cover band, and we played some hard rock standards.
Mhm.
We didn't play Sweet Home Alabama, but we're
Thank
close to
God.
that. And I was like, oh, okay, I have these songs that I wrote about some 10 years ago,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they were supposed to be Claymore's second album.
Mhm.
Can we do that? Can we just record these songs? And Boris, luckily, had his studio up and running. And it was his first album that he recorded.
Okay.
It sounded like shit. That Lament of Victory album, it sounded like shit. It was. I asked Diana if she can sing in that opera style, and she
Okay.
was
The
like,
the 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 Nightwish type of
and she was like, "Why? You said I have a good voice." I said, "Yeah, but can you sing it? Because the songs were imagined to be like that."
right.
And yeah, I had this song in drop D tuning, and oh man, it sucked. And when we recorded that Lament of Victory, after that, I said, "Listen, guys, there are so many claymores in the world: Bulgarian claymore, German claymore, Scottish claymore, uh, Azerbaijan claymore. I don't know which claymore."
Right.
And I saw this Japanese anime, and manga also. Claymore is very popular. I was like, what are we going to do with this name? Let's change it. And I suddenly felt the change to write the musical style as I always wanted to do
Right.
since the very beginning of Claymore, and that's the classic power metal sound with the traditional heavy metal sound and some sprinkles of doom, some sprinkles of maybe folk metal here
Hmm.
and there. And Unbroken was our first album as Claymorean, and I still regard it as our first album and not the third album as many call it. And I was like, yeah, this is the new band, new blood,
Because you
because
didn't really change the name. It was actually a complete almost separate band, separate complete bands.
totally. And it was very hard to, with our first two albums, it was very hard to promote ourselves. Where we were very new to social media and stuff like that. And
Right.
I'm an old man. I hate this social media stuff. I use it to talk to friends, to talk to you and to other friends, and to see how you're doing, chat about something. But I never uh, like that as a means of distribution or marketing or whatever. But it became a need, and now I'm like the only one apart from my wife that's been using this social media to promote ourselves. But back then it was hard, and suddenly something happened with Eulogy for the Gods. I don't know what, because I was never a huge fan of that album to begin with, because I even said in the local TV interview that I don't like the album. I like to stand behind every album we make, and the way we make albums and songs is if we like it, it's a green light. If we
Right.
don't like it, if I don't like it as a fan, if I don't have a need to listen to it 24/7, and you can see the statistics on the Last FM and all those old,
Hmm.
platforms.
Yes.
It's like my number one band is Claymorean, and then you have all the Manila Roads and
Right.
Man Awards and Versus and whatnot. And I'm like, if you're not a fan of your band, why bother have a band in the first
Right.
place?
Right.
So Eternal Curse is the album I always wanted to do. It's not a cliche when musicians said their latest album is their best. No, I
Right.
really mean it. Yeah, it's my favorite album, and then you know I'm happy.
and I and it's kind of funny because the way you talk about, and it must have been the circumstances surrounding the recording and everything of Eulogy, because that's the first album I heard, and that was just a whoa moment for me, because it's like this, killer riff laden. This is, everything Hammerfall should still be doing. you know, um, you know, female vocals just soaring over the top. I'm sorry, but when you mention, the female David DeFace, I'm thinking to myself, much better than that, because of, how I feel about Cry for Pompeii. So
Yeah, sure.
you all made that your own, to the point where I listen to that one before I listen to his squeal. So that's the only thing that bothers me with him, is that little squeal he does when he, instead of, that.
Don't forget the lion roars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, roars. Okay. Anyway, yeah, she made that her own, and that was one of the things that was like, whoa, who are these people? Um, and you know, listening back to the old stuff, I still, and I still go back, and I still, you know, I do listen to your older stuff. I do listen to the things prior to Eulogy, but there's just Eulogy, and I do see that Eternal Curse, to me, is just a continuation of that progression. So I don't I just don't see why you don't like it.
No, no, no. Don't get me wrong. I like the album, but at the time when we were making it, I wasn't too happy about it
Right,
because at the time it was a difficult time on personal level,
right,
and it was and, there was COVID stuff going
right,
on.
right, right.
I got very ill. I
I
got
remember.
very ill. You recorded Eternal Curse too, but sentiment was the sentiment was different. We had some personal losses in the family, and
Oh,
a lot of shitty stuff started to happen.
so just a
And
bad time in your lives when the album,
yeah,
and you happen to be
two
recording
songs,
an album at the time.
yeah, the two songs on Eulogy were like, uh, we don't have any lyrics or any vocal melodies for Spirit of Merciless Time, which was called differently back then
Hmm.
as a demo, and for Mystical Realm. Those two songs
Hmm.
were lingering. Like, I was ready to release it as an EP and say, that's it.
And cut those
I,
songs.
I don't have anything about these two songs. It was only, you can have these 6 or 5 songs because there was a Blood of the Dragon from Cedric
Hmm.
also,
Hmm.
but we recorded the version. And I remember Diana said, uh, okay, how about the song, which later going to be Spirit of Merciless Time? She said, how about at the beginning, uh, there is a shout after the break, male shout, like choral shout, like screams.
Hmm.
And suddenly, into dead of night. Yeah, that could work. I started writing it together with her, and almost in a day, we had 2 songs completed because Mystical Realm also was that song's original title was Eulogy for the Gods. And
Okay.
it was completely different. I have the demo version. I was hoping to release it, Spirit of Merciless Time and Mystical Realm, on the re-release of Eulogy for the Gods CD, if Stormspell ever re-release it.
That would be
And
cool.
yeah, you should hear those two demo versions. They were so different. And I had this melody in my head stuck, like it was unusual, a little bit doomy, a little bit folky, I don't
Hmm.
know. And it was like, na 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 na. I said, wow, this could be great, but I need some lyrics here. And I remembered I'm an atheist, and I said, "Yeah, what about we shit on religion?" I don't mean to really. Everyone is entitled to their own beliefs. I mean to shit on anyone, and but that was my point of view when I was writing that song. So that song was like, okay, my take on organized religion.
There you go.
So we're alone in the fucking universe, and
Well, and and again, it's wild how those things happen, how things start to, you get these inspirations from wherever, from little things. So again, and it's kind of funny because you were thinking about cutting those two songs. They're two of my favorite songs on the albums too. They're just, and let's talk about Eternal Curse. That's the new album. That's the current album. And oh yes, definitely elitist metalhead approved early on. I just hit me like a ton of bricks. It was just so powerful and
thank you.
um, so upfront, and I can see where I can see the difference in the approach between Eulogy and, again, not take anything from Eulogy because I do believe Eulogy is still an amazing album, and but I think it was you know it set everyone up for Eternal Curse because, again, I do believe that is the natural progression from Eulogy to Eternal Curse. And you had some challenges with that album, recording that one as well. Let's tell us about that recording.
It was very challenging. I mean, at the time we were preparing those demos. Um, just to make a bit of a prequel here, when I'm in a writing mode, I'm not like many musicians I know that are like, oh, I have this huge pile of, I don't know, 20 or 30 songs, and I'm going to select the 10 best 10 out of them, maybe other for the next album or something like that. No, I write for the specific album, for the specific point in time. So this time I was full of energy because we played at some very important festivals like Ab the Hammers in Athens, like Keep It True in Würzburg, like Metaleros, like Headbangers Open Air and the Exit Festival and whatnot. And we had a semi mini tour
Mhm.
before Eternal Curse. So we were practically becoming a band from late 2000, 2021 up to, I don't know, 2024, in the middle of 2024. And
Mhm.
those ideas grew in me like, yeah, we should, next time we hit the stage, we should kick everyone's ass. I really need to uh, let out all this energy that's been, compiling in me.
Mhm.
And that was the uh, incredible energy gathered from all those shows, from all those fans who were at the shows. And uh, every idea I had was either a fast song or an epic song, because there was no middle
Right.
ground. There was no doomy songs this time. I was like, no, 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 nothing slow. The slowest song on the album is Bannockburn, and even that song isn't a slow song by metal standards. So it's
Right.
a mid-tempo song. Yeah.
Yes.
And it was like, yeah, yeah, let's do this. And sadly, Marco, our drummer, he was he was starting to play with this cover band, and he was like playing all these poppy stuff and stuff like that. Yeah, this guy's regular work,
Mhm.
and he lives from playing that music, and
Right.
I, I don't mind it, but his skills in double kick drumming and stuff like that started to wane, and we have this small window and in time, and I said to Boris, yeah, yeah, we need to record the drums, and Marco really he was a hero. He recorded those drums for entire album in 2 days, and he will tell you that he's not satisfied with how these drums turned out, but I think they're great. I think
I do too.
they're not perfect, but they're punchy, they're full of life, they're
Mhm.
dynamic.
They
That's
match
what
the
heavy
energy of
metal
the
is about.
songs. They definitely match the
Yeah,
energy of the songs and the energy, the atmosphere that the songs put out.
of
And
course.
that's one of the biggest things I noticed about the album is the energy. It's very high energy, very, you know, and obviously, um, writing those songs on that high note. And of course, I can definitely understand that high note. There's video proof of Harry the Tyrant giving the wife the "we're not worthy" bows. There's video proof of that. I've seen it. I've seen it.
It's
So
a small story to life,
that
yeah.
that has to make you feel, really good, because that's what it's all about. Getting, maybe not, you might, metal's a strange thing. You're probably not selling as many albums as you're not going to sell as many albums as Britney's as Taylor Swift or whatever, but you are going to, you're getting your name out there. There's people, legends know your name. Lee Payne, Harry the Tyrant. Those folks know.
Mark Brady from Jack Panzer also.
Mark as well. Mark as well. Mark's a huge fan. I can see in his, on the social media presence that Mark's a huge fan. You have a lot of, well-respected musicians that are huge fans. So I think that exposure right there is going to help out. And this album is definitely the one. So yeah,
I had this mishap when my gallbladder started to, uh, die because of the huge stone. And I was like, yeah, I need to go to surgery. We recorded drums, we recorded bass, we recorded both guitars. Only lead guitars weren't recorded, and Diana's vocals, and of course, backing vocals.
right.
I had to go on surgery, and we the doctor said, yeah, you need to rest about 6 months before you can do anything. I was like, I'm going on tour in 4 months. And I'm like, I need to finish this album by December
Yep.
or here the most. So I used any moment in time to go to studio. I was so exhausted, but it was worth it. I was with Dana all the time. I told her, please give your best. Let's not record each song. I mean, like 8 hour session or so. And she did it. She was like, okay, you want a full metal delivery? I'll give you a full metal
Yeah, she
delivery.
did.
And it was really fast. Also,
And she was
Vlaiko,
going through challenge. She was going through some challenges through the recording of her vocals as well, right?
and Vlaiko, the other guitarist, he was like, oh, how will I record my lead parts for 8 songs in one day? And I said, you can do it. And he was like, in 3 hours, all done, all done. And it was flawless. And I couldn't wait for Boris to start mixing it. But a lot of things happened at his studio also. And he was like, you guys, I have some scheduled bands before you. I need to do this. And when the time had come for him to do us, oh, that was really the race with time because he had his vision, I had my vision, everyone in the band had their vision, and what you hear on Eternal Curse is like a combined vision of everyone. Not everyone is satisfied, not even Boris, but it's like, you know, what's the word? Fuck's sake, I'm a lawyer, I should know that word. It's a consensus. Yeah,
Okay,
it's a
okay, consensus of
yeah. So and funny thing about the sound, Boris has a little girl, and she's a fan of the band, and she was listening to the new album, and she asked Boris, "Daddy, did I have to record it so loudly?" Because it was like having this sense, like it was really loud when we recorded it, and it
Mhm,
was.
mhm.
The drums were recorded. Marco was banging them like shit out of them.
Right.
Dana was, the guitars were at 11, like Spinal Tap, crazy. So you can hear it on the record. There's
Mhm.
no producer skill that can make that energy, happen
Right.
if you hadn't that energy when you were recording it. Yeah.
Speaking of the lineup, what happened? It looks like you might have lost.
No, no, they didn't split the band. They just aren't available for any upcoming live shows,
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
especially for this year, because Marco has some schedules with his band. He literally is his job,
Okay.
and
Okay. Mhm.
they're very supportive towards him. And we said, okay, dude, go do your job. We'll be here for you whenever
Right.
you. And his brother also has some personal issues. He had he has his own company for
Mhm.
cars, and he like this technical. I don't know. I don't know how you call it there. It's like when you go to doctor, but this is a car. He's a,
Okay, okay, okay.
he's like examining cars
He's doing
to give
diagnostics
them
on cars.
tests
Okay,
to be in traffic and stuff like that. And
okay, okay.
he's really occupied. And I mean, we all have regular jobs, but
Yeah,
we work in state companies. We are not so. I have work hours from 7 to 3, and that's it. I'm free.
right,
But they're just like, they can spend the entire day working or several days, and the weekends are non-existent for them. So most of the festivals, most of the shows are being held in weekends. So that's the stuff. So we are looking for replacements to replace those two guys live, but it's going to be very hard because they are such a huge part of our band, our
right.
sound.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough thing to do. Hopefully, you can get that all worked out. Hopefully, they can,
Yeah,
unfortunately, metal doesn't pay the bills, and
yeah, definitely.
unless you're Iron Maiden.
Metallica,
Yeah, oh,
if you
yeah,
consider metal.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, unless you're Iron Maiden, like I said.
Yeah.
Metallica who? Well, that's good. At
I think
least,
even, yeah, even priests have problems with paying their bills
right.
just out of the music. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, but like I said, hopefully you get all that worked out. Do you have any upcoming tour dates that, or anything
Uh,
scheduled?
Sadly, I had to say no to 5 festivals, 5 great festivals, and in Croatia, in Bulgaria, in Greece. So it breaks my heart that those fans uh, won't have a chance to see us live because of the problems with the lineup and
Hmm.
with schedules and stuff like that. But I so wanted to play at those countries because we played in Greece once, but this was time. There were 2 opportunities to play in Greece this year. We never played in Bulgaria. There were 2 opportunities to play there, and 1 opportunity to play in Croatia, which is closest to us, and
Right.
it would be a big deal to travel. But sadly, the band was practically non-existing for the live purposes back then, so
Right.
we had to cancel them. So yeah, that's my big regret. So
That's okay.
nothing scheduled for now, and I hope when something is scheduled, uh, we'll have a steady lineup for that show.
Oh, and so speaking of shows, let's go back to some happier times. How did the mini tour go? How was that
Oh,
tour?
it was amazing, man. I was like a fan of Crystallion
Hmm.
back in early 2000s
Hmm.
because they were one of those bands that didn't slow down, that didn't went into mid-tempo stuff. They were like, hey, it's 2007 or 2008, and you're hearing those, labyrinth-like, elegy-like, fast power metal riffs and drums, and I loved Crystallion. And as soon as their new singer, Tony, uh, called me. He called me practically a year before, but that tour couldn't happen because of the
Hmm.
schedule.
Right. Right.
And we were very very excited to go on this tour. And what can I say? 7 shows in a row, 6 shows in Germany, 1 show in Czech Republic. The crowd was nuts. In some cities, the crowd was really thin,
Hmm.
but all who were there were like singing all the lyrics. They're like headbanging like crazy. So 4 of those 7 shows were like, you know I would expect a bigger crowd, but there weren't the show days, know, like Tuesday isn't the show day in Germany, or Thursday also,
Right.
or Sunday even. But three of those shows were like packed house, so it was crazy. It was crazy experience, and we met some new fans, we met some old fans, and I think if someone asked me to do this as a full-time day job, I would take it anytime.
So, like the touring life agreed with you then, eh?
Like 48, and I wasn't complaining about, my hips or my knees or stuff like that. And I expected to do so.
Hey, metal keeps you young. That's what I say. I'll
Yeah.
I'll definitely feel that way. Well, you know what? It was really good. We're going to running out of time here. It was really great finally getting to speak with you, finally getting to come as close as face to face as we can, being that there's this big, huge pond between us. One day you'll get over this side of the pond, I'm sure. It'll happen.
Oh, I hope so too. But given the current state of things, and maybe as a tourist, as a musician, I think it's a
Yeah,
no-go.
yeah,
I don't have tens of thousands of bucks to pay for my visa.
yeah. I
For
know
fuck's sake.
Yeah, I know it's definitely, and every thing everything's not always etched in stone either, so you never know. What you never say never. It can always happen, but again, I definitely want to thank you for talking with me today, talking about Claymorean, talking about Eternal Curse. Everyone, if you're not familiar with Claymorean or Eternal Curse, the album's available on Stormspell Records.
And the Golden Core Records on vinyl.
Golden Core on vinyl. Yes, indeed. So it's definitely true metal, epic power metal, epic. I, it's just true metal. I can't really box it into any type of style or anything. It is 100% true metal, and it's definitely in my eyes a contender for album of the year because of how strong it is, and it's definitely one of those
Thank you so
albums that and it's definitely going to be one of those albums that will definitely be a classic in the making. So, any final
Yeah,
words?
I will rephrase. The only God I know, it's Lemmy, and whenever whenever someone asks me, "Hey, what kind of music you guys are playing?" We play heavy metal.
That's
So,
it.
you know, it's enough. Yeah,
That's right.
it's.
Exactly. Well, Vlad, thank you so much. It's been
Thank you
great,
so much.
and we'll definitely chat again. Have a great day, man.
I hope we can have chats besides this official ones.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We'll definitely do that. Take care, brother.
Thank you so much, and say hello to everyone you love.
You too. Take care. Stay metal.
Take care.